You know, there's one camera out of all of the cameras that I test out that I just can't seem to let go of. What up, y'all? It's Thru, and I'm back for another video. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Remember to be thankful for your freaking life today because you did not have to have that. Let's get on with the meat and potatoes because this mystery camera that's sitting on the table is the one that I just can't seem to get over it. As a content creator, a camera content creator, y'all probably can imagine, I mean, if you on my channel, you know this already. I go through cameras like nobody's freaking business, okay? I test them out, I use them, and I think it's important before we move on, by the way, I didn't script this video, to let y'all know what I do with my cameras, okay? Because some of y'all gonna be in the comments like, oh, Terry's not a professional and all this other stuff. Please shut up, have a seat, and listen, okay? So as a solo content creator, I'm no longer doing many professional jobs. I know some of y'all might consider what I do not professional, okay, whatever. But I'm not doing client projects. I might do photography gigs here and there. By and large, I'm filming for YouTube and short form videos and stuff like that. So our needs might be different if you on, you know, freaking indie film sets or Hollywood film sets. Obviously, we don't talk the same language anymore. So as a solo content creator, what's important to me is a camera that gives me amazing image quality and doesn't get in my freaking way. And that is where the Sony ZV-E1 for me has become probably the most instrumental camera I have. Now, I'm not saying that this is a perfect camera. I'm not saying that it's the freaking camera that you should go out and buy. If you are somebody who only can have one camera, I probably wouldn't recommend this as your only camera. There's better options out there like the Sony a7C II and, you know, the Sony FX30 and a6700 and so on and so forth if you want to stay in the Sony ecosystem. But for people who are looking for a low-cost video monster, yo, this is where the beans is. So let's get into the reasons why for me the Sony ZV-E1 is the camera that I just can't get rid of. Now the first thing I want to talk about is cost versus video specs and image quality, okay? Because this is a big deal and arguably with a camera the most important deal, right? So the ZV-E1 costs $2,200. By no means is it a cheap freaking camera, okay? But I firmly believe that at the price point, there's no other video camera that can run with this camera pound for pound when it comes to video specs and abilities. Now, I'm not saying that all of these other cameras don't have amazing image quality. In fact, if you got any recent full frame camera from any manufacturer, you would be hard pressed to be able to tell the difference between that camera and the Sony ZV-E1. All of them have amazing image quality, but where the ZV-E1 shines is cost versus performance. Now, a lot of y'all know I sold my FX3, which some of y'all call me stupid. A lot of y'all call me stupid, as a matter of fact, to get the Sony ZV-E1, but my rationale on it was I don't really use the FX3's advantages over the advantages of the ZV-E1. So why not sell it, get some money back, and get a camera that works better for me? So the ZV-E1 can shoot 4K up to 120 frames per second. So that means 4K 24, 4K 30, 4K 60. All of those are no crop. 4K 120 only has a tiny crop on top of it. But you get S-Log3 in all of those modes. You get tons of dynamic range in all of those modes. And it's uncompromised. The next thing that this camera gives me that is really untouchable by any other camera except for the Sony a7S III, the Sony FX3 and FX6, because it's the same freaking sensor, is dual ISO of 640 and 12,800. I cannot tell you how many times filming later at night or in the dark, because y'all know I like to shoot a lot of these night videos, where 12,800 has come into freaking play. It is so good and it still gives you loads of dynamic range, and on top of that, the autofocus tracking, all that stuff still works. So there's that. The other thing is rolling shutter. Because the readout speed of this sensor is only 12 megapixel is so fast, there's literally no rolling shutter. Or if there is any rolling shutter, you can't freaking see it. All of those things in conjunction with the image quality, because the image quality is amazing out of it, for $2,200 is really where this camera shines at. You can't find another camera at this price point that gives you this many video features, all of that stuff, than the Sony ZV-E1. I know some other cameras come close. The Fujifilm X-H2S is a beast of a camera, $2,500. The Lumix cameras give you a whole lot of stuff, 6K open gate and all of these video assist and all that stuff, but they don't do uncropped 4K 60, they don't do 4K 120, and as a B-roll snob, okay, that 4K 60 and 4K 120 uncropped is a pretty big deal to tight shirt Terry Warfield. So the next thing that makes the Sony ZV-E1 a really, really clutch little camera are the built-in vlog mics, okay? I'm not saying that these can replace a freaking microphone. They can't, but in a pinch. All right, so this is the built-in mic on the Sony ZV-E1. I do have the little dead cat that's included with the camera on top of it. I did turn off the auto wind noise reduction. I don't like it adjusting it. I prefer to turn that on and off myself. But also, like I said, it will detect which direction that the audio is coming from, and it can switch it on the fly, so it's pretty dope. Anyways, this is the built-in audio straight out the camera. I think this sounds great in a pinch without a microphone. Obviously, you can still connect the Sony ECM mics because it's got the MI shoe, but the built-in vlog mics are actually real clutch. Now, before I move on, I've been noticing that a whole lot of y'all been coming back to my videos, watching my videos, but you ain't been subscribing. What is that crap all about? Can we please change that? Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And the next thing I want to talk about is the autofocus and the AI stuff. Now, the ZV-E1 has a whole bunch of, little AI stuff. The only things I really use when it comes to AI is the autofocus, which is so good. It's just like Sony's other cameras, all the new cameras like the A7R5 that I'm filming with right now, or the 6700. All of the cameras with AI, the autofocus is so good. The tracking is so good. And honestly, the ZV-E1 is one of them cameras where you just don't have to worry about the autofocus. It kind of thinks for you. It's super confident. No complaints on the autofocus. The only other thing that I really use is the auto framing thing where, it kind of follows you throughout the frame, but I don't even use that a whole lot because sometimes it acts weird, okay? The biggest thing with the Sony ZV-E1 for me is the fact that I can punch in through clear image zoom, okay, and retain all of those things. Clear image zoom does not stop you from using any of the tracking features or autofocus features or active stabilization. And the fact that it's got a zoom rocker right on the front, example, if I use this 16-35 f4 PZG, which is a power zoom lens, and I use this rocker, I could go all the way through 35mm and keep going right through clear image and not lose any of my tracking or anything like that. It is so freaking clutch to be able to do that. The other thing I really love is the dynamic stabilization. It comes at a 30% crop, so it's a pretty hefty crop, but being able to use that with a wider lens gets you some real good, almost like gimbal-like results right in the camera, which is, for me, is game-changing, okay? Then, of course, we got the USB live streaming. I mean, most of Sony's new cameras come with that, but I use that all the time. And then the last thing is 12 megapixels is something I want to touch on because, like I said, it's the same sensor out of the Sony FX3, the same sensor out of this FX6 and the A7S III, okay? It's only 12 megapixels, but that doesn't mean that it can't take fantastic photos. Unless you need to blow your prints up to like billboard freaking sizes, 12 megapixels for social is way more than enough. The photos out of this camera look just as good as my photo cameras, just with less megapixels. Now, I ain't saying everything is sweet with the Sony ZV-E1. Of course, there's some things I don't like, starting with the exterior. This thing is $2,200. It feels cheap, it looks cheap. The rear display is just not a good display, okay? And the small size is a benefit, but it's a disadvantage at the same time because I don't have enough controls and buttons, and I do miss having those things coming from the Sony FX3. You do get used to it, but a lot of the things are controlled through the touchscreen on here, and although the touchscreen is responsive, it is not a good looking touchscreen at all. And then you got things on the side like micro HDMI. Why? I understand why. It's a small camera, but I promise nobody wants to deal with that. And single card slots. Plus, sometimes it does overheat at warmer temperatures, especially on longer takes. So you got to worry about that because it ain't enough space in here for internal fan. I'm willing to look past those things though to get this video quality and performance out of something this small. Again, at this cost is. For me, I don't need nothing else, okay? I won't sell this camera until another one comes along, either the successor or maybe like the Sony A7S IV, which will probably give us all this sauce and more, or the FX4. They'll probably call it FX4. Until one of them comes along, I will not be selling this camera in particular for any other camera. I'm gonna go through a whole bunch of other cameras, but this one I will not get rid of. So let me know what y'all think down in the comments. I know this was kind of like a rapid fire video. Man, I just love the ZV-E1, even though it got so much hate at the beginning. But y'all can let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. So, till next time, I'm out of here, Tyson Tier World. Piece of chicken grease, I'm out. Much love, y'all. Peace.